Good morning. I am so excited that you are here today. Today, we are going to talk about the simplified process, how to save hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars. And I'm going to show you something today that actually saved my team and my time and my money, because I think theory is great, but the whole point of being a part of this, right, is so you can actually apply some of these things and you can see possibilities inside of your business. And if I can open up just one simple possibility and shift a limiting belief for you, then I feel like my work is done. So first of all, I want to introduce myself. My name is Emily Hawkins, and I have spent 15 years in the corporate world. I've spent 20 years, like 21 years at this point, 21 years in operations, streamlining processes for productive results. I've worked for Fortune 500s all the way down to, I used to say a small startup, and now I can actually say in my own business as well, taking really chaotic processes, desperate. I don't know if you know what that term means. Desperate can mean crazy, or it can also mean discombobulated. Everybody's all over the place, and actually putting everything together and streamlining it all. And after receiving my MBA in global business and realizing, by the way, that there is a huge misnomer here, that business has to be hard and that things inside of your business have to be complex. And I am here to tell you that none of that is true. And my goal is to equip as many small businesses as humanly possible with the tools that they need to sustainably run and profitably grow, and do it like real simply, right? So I hope that you're on board for this, because that is exactly what we're going to do today, because I've heard from so many of you that you hate processes, that you don't have processes, that you are missing processes. And it's driving you crazy, right? As it should, because without processes, you've got chaos. You are spending so much money. You are spending so much time. And a lot of the times you're doing work repeatedly, right? Over and over again, which is a waste of your precious time. So I want to ask you a question before we get started. And that is, at one point in history, there was a system, if you will. There was a company that revolutionized what they did in the marketplace, and how they revolutionized it and how they put their goods in more people's hands is by taking what they did, how they produced their product, from a 12-hour process to a 1.5 hour process. Now, if you are in the chat right now, I would love for you to guess. I would love for you to guess what company this was. What was this? Tell me in the chat. And I would love it if you were in eCam so I can actually see it. That would be amazing. What was the process? Well, my friends, the process was the Model T. So this used to take 12 hours, and it was one person or two putting together a car one piece at a time. And what happened was Henry Ford realized there's got to be an easier way. And the easier way was building a process. And the process was actually taking the car around to the different workers, also known as the assembly line. So it took a 12-hour process down to 1 hour. Now, how does this relate to you? Well, the Model T, just like your business, when it found its process, it was able to have cheaper labor costs because they were able to templatize this work. They were able to create a car in an hour versus 12 hours, which means 12 cars per hour, or I should say 12 cars in 12 hours versus one car in 1 hour, right? Think about what that would do for your business. When you have a process in place, you can actually do more things in less time, which drives down the need for a ton of skill or a ton of people. I've noticed that a lot of business owners like to throw people at the problem, and sometimes the process is the answer and it will drive down your labor costs. But what else will it drive down? You're going to work fewer hours, right? Back to that example, it took them 12 hours to build 12 cars versus 12 hours to build one car. So this is where time became less of an issue. And I know for many of you that time is an issue, right? There's never enough time. I remember hearing, I've actually mentioned this a few times, that Beyonce has the same 24 hours as you. I hate that quote because it's really not true. And the reason I say that is because Beyonce doesn't do all the things, right? She has processes in place and the right people in those processes so that she can get more done, right? But it's not her doing all the work, right? How does she work fewer hours? Processes. Her business is a machine. Taylor Swift, great example of this as well. Now, not only will processes do this, but it will also drive down costs. So again, going back to that Model T, why do we even drive cars? We all drive cars because of the Model T. That was the first affordable vehicle of its class. There was nothing like it before because it made it impossible to own because it was so expensive. Well, here's the thing. When you have processes in place, it will drive down your internal costs. Now, if you want to take those costs and you want to give some of that drive down to your customers, actually decreasing your cost, which could increase your availability in the marketplace, meaning volume will be a case, that's a great thing. You can also just take that home so that you can provide for your family. You can buy groceries. You can buy electricity. Those are my favorite things personally. And also you can afford to give your employees more, right? So you can actually provide more by driving down the costs of your services, which is great. And here's the other thing about processes. Why do you think so many people were able to buy the Model T? Well, they were able to buy the Model T because their neighbor got one and was like, hey, friend, this is real good. Oh, I'm going to buy one too. Quality. And the quality was the same with every vehicle, right? And when you have processes in place, restaurants do this beautifully, right? When you have processes in place, your quality could actually rise because all of a sudden you have standard procedures and everything is done. Everyone gets similar service expectations and people love certainty. Don't you love certainty? I love certainty. It makes me feel good about myself. Certainty, quality, they go hand in hand. And that is exactly what happens when you have a process in place. Now, oh, and of course, repeat business, right? So I just mentioned like a referral process there. But also, if you happen to have a consumable of some kind, people are going to come back because of everything that I just mentioned. The cost is at an affordable price. The quality is great. And you're just giving great service. So my question is, what's holding you back, right? Why don't you have processes in place? Now, I'm joking here. I know why. I've heard from you. I've been talking to you. I have actually in the past week talked to 10 different people, and I will tell you that they have told me the same thing. And I'm going to give you these. And in the chat, I would love for you to say, that's me. When you see yours on the screen, that's me. Or even just yes. So the first one is, I don't have time, right? So you are running a business and you have all of these things on your plate. So you don't have time to do these things. But the reason you don't have time is because you don't have repeatable processes. What? Yes, it's like the chicken or the egg, right? Get the repeatable process, but I don't have time to put the repeatable process in place. And so you are swirling around and around, and you are on a hamster wheel. I don't know anybody who enjoys that except for hamsters. I am not a hamster. I do not enjoy that. And I want to use my time and my energy to give more to my organization. And doing the same thing over and over again is not that. It's actually madness, right? I don't know how. Well, you're in luck. I'm going to show you how today. So we're going to remove this excuse. I'm actually going to give you my 3-step plan for exactly how to create any process in your business. It's laughably simple. I hope that everything I teach you is laughably simple. That is the whole goal of what I do. And finally, it's boring as crap, right? You know that you feel this way. I get it. When we think of sales in our business, that's exciting, right? You get a sale and it's like, oh, you create a process and you can feel the same way because you don't have to touch that thing again, which is very exciting. But creating it, usually people feel it's boring because it's not flashy, it's not the sales, but it actually creates the repeat sales, right? And it creates abundance inside of your business. So let's remove the fact that it's boring, because you are going to learn how today, and that's usually why people are bored. And you think you don't have time. But if you have time to make sales in your business, you have time to build processes to support those sales so that they become either referrals or repeatable sales. Who's with me? Who's with me? In the chat, I would love it if you say, I'm with you. I'm with you. All right, so let me talk to you today about how to build a process the fun way. You ready? You ready for some fun? I want to see ready in the chat. I need some ready. I need some love here. What I would love is for you to follow along. I am going to literally show you how I worked through something that was driving me absolutely batty inside of my business. And that is, well, what are my biggest time sucks, right? What are the things, I'm going to call these crap sandwiches. So Elizabeth Gilbert, one of my favorite authors, wrote a book called Big Magic. And in this book, she mentioned that every job has a crap sandwich, and it is up to you to decide what flavor you want to eat. Now, my friends, I will tell you that the things that I don't enjoy eating are the things that I have to repeatedly do that really don't get me anywhere, right? If I am repeatedly doing the same thing over and over again, well, that's called madness, right? So I know I said that earlier. It just bears repeating. So what I want to say here is step 1. What are your biggest time sucks? Now, I would love it if in the chat you told me what those are, if you had a piece of paper out and you were writing them down. All of them. Just verbal diarrhea is what I call it, or, word vomit on a page is what I call it. I have all these technical terms for you, word vomit being one of them. And look at those. Now, I told you that I was going to share with you my biggest time sucks and something that actually happened inside my business and how I solved it. And I will tell you, friends, when you manage a business that has thousands of customers, such as mine, email management can get a little insane. It can become a job. First, it becomes a part-time job, and then it becomes a full-time job, and all of a sudden, everything else in your business stops because you are all the time asking about, you're trying to manage the emails, right? Well, let's talk about what were the time sucks within the email, because email is too broad, right? That's too broad. So I want to break down the 3 main areas. Oh, and let me tell you the step 2. I'm sorry, I went too far. Step 2, how can I, and this is very important, decrease the time of the time suck, decrease the cost of the time suck, and increase the quality of the time suck. Now, you cannot always do all 3 of these. Sometimes speed is a little more expensive. Sometimes speed isn't quality. Now, what I'm about to show you will actually decrease time, decrease costs, and increase quality. What? That's right, the trifecta in your business that you've always wanted. But this is step 2, asking yourself, how can I decrease time and costs and increase quality? Now, back to what I got to ahead, and I will tell you that, oh, and I love that somebody in the chat said calls from clients asking where is their product. Ooh, tracking. So tracking is an issue for you. I love this. So follow along with me and you will understand how can you decrease the time here, the costs and the quality, right? And increase quality. So what I found was, like I said, email management too broad, right? Too broad. So what was it exactly in the emails that were really sucking my time? And I narrowed it down to 3 aspects. Responses, actually responding to these people, typing out a message, right? Dear Sarah, blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden, like, this is taking me forever, right? The organization of the email. So if somebody I emailed you 2 weeks ago and I don't know where this is, da, 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 da. Oh my God, how do I find this email, right? So the organization of the email was sucking my time. And the expectations. Now, expectations were, and you get these where people send you an email and then they send you another email and they're like, I just wanted to make sure that you got my original email. And all of a sudden now this person has sent 2 to 3 emails and it is bogging down your inbox because you are having to respond to all these emails, right? Back to responses, back to organization, right? So what I want to share with you today is how I solved all 3 of these problems with processes. Now, you don't want to save this video because I'm going to show you some things that I did, and I do have Gmail on here for a reason. I personally have my work email in Gmail. I recommend it because it's easy to solve these problems. Now, I'm not talking about a CRM. I get a CRM. It's a beautiful thing. But when you are looking at your support emails and that type of thing, it's really hard to manage in those types of platforms. I personally use ActiveCampaign. I absolutely love it. I'm actually a power user in that platform. It's amazing for everything that it can do. Responses to one-on-one emails, not its forte. That is where Gmail comes in. And in fact, with ActiveCampaign, you can link up Gmail. It's a beautiful thing. So I digress, but I felt like that was an important digression. I want to share with you how I did this. So let's start with expectations. How do you drive expectations in your emails? How do you do this? In the chat, if you are interested in this information, please say yes. How do I drive these expectations? You don't have to write all that. You can just say yes. But how do you do this? Well, I'm about to show you. So I'm going to flip my screen and I'm going to show you, and this is a dummy account that I really never use. Hence why there's no mail. People do send me emails, I promise. Now, I want to walk you through how you can set expectations. So back to, hey, I never got a message from you. How do we know how to do this? So how I figured this out was by going over here. And I hope you can see my screen. I hope it's not too small. To this settings button. So you're in your Gmail. And this is anybody's Gmail. You're going to go to this little wheel and you're going to click on settings. It's going to bring up all this stuff on the side. I don't really care about that. What I care about is see all settings. So you're going to click on that. And you are going to scroll down this page and you are going to see something that is called vacation responder. What? You're going to let people know you're on vacation? No. You are going to let people know that they received your email. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to toggle it on. That's what you're going to do. And then now it will be on. And it says first day. If you wanted to set this up for a period of time, that's not what we want to do here. We want this running all the time so that if anybody sends an email to support or your support network, they receive this email. I have a separate email for support for this very reason. Now, I will tell you, thank you for your email is a great subject line. You could say, thank you for your email for name your company, whatever you want to say here. And then what I did was I realized there were certain things inside of my business that people needed to understand. And one of those was how much time it was going to take us to respond. So we said, we have received your message. Your email will be processed in the order it was received, so sending multiple emails will only slow things down. I'm stopping people right in their tracks from sending those multiple emails, right? This cut our email traffic in half, by the way. Just want you to know that. Now, the next one is customer service requests will not be processed via Facebook Messenger or Facebook group. I will tell you right now that this also decreased bad habits because what was happening was people were sending us emails and then they were trying to find us everywhere else. So this cut down our management not only in email, but in Facebook as well. Our customer service hours are Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern time. So this is great, right? Now, something that I would add here, and I did this on purpose because it's actually in our note, is we will respond in 1 business day or less, right? So we're giving them the expectation of when they will hear back from us. 1 business day. My customer service support, as you can see, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. They do not work on the weekends. That is not the kind of business that I want to run. So that is not what we do. And thank you for your patience. And then Nicole is my director of customer support. I have this in place, save changes, and you will notice this goes along the top, knowing that this is now set up. So we have solved the first problem inside of your business, which is that piece of expectations, right? This again knocked our emails down by half. Oh my goodness, so wonderful, right? But that's just part of this puzzle. The other part is responses. Now, how many of you find yourself type in the same responses all the time? These are our products. These are our services. I see that, one person in the chat said calls from clients asking where is their product. Do you have a standard response for that in emails? Now, I realize this is a call, but in this world, I'm just going to say it is an autoresponder. I'm going to use this autoresponder. Let me explain. So we're going to go back over to Google so that you can see how to do this. So we're going to use this example of calls from clients, and of course we're going to emails from clients asking where their product is. So again, in that autoresponder, you could have something there if that was something that was commonly asked about where they could go to track their order. That's an easy thing in the autoresponder that you could add in there. But let's say that you need to have some sort of standard language that you can put and then maybe put a tracking number in. But gosh, writing that standard language every time, and then, how do you do this across people and all the things? So we're going to go back up to this wheel. We're going to go back up to this wheel, and we're going to go back to see all settings. And we are going to go to advanced. So it's right up here at the top. I know the screen's pretty small, but it says advanced. You're going to click on advanced, and you are going to see something. So you've got auto advanced and you've got templates. So what I want to do here is turn frequent messages into templates to save time, right? Thank you, Google. Yes, let's do that. So I'm going to enable this. So unless it's enabled, if it's not enabled, you can't do this. So make sure you use this screen first. So we're going to save these changes. Now it's like restarting because it's like, oh yeah, I see what you're going to do here. So now we're going to go in to compose a message. And obviously this could be to anyone, whatever, it doesn't matter. And I'm going to have a subject line of your tracking information. And I'm going to say, thank you. And then I'm going to leave a blank for, it would help if I could, for reaching out about your order. We are excited to send it to you. And here is the tracking for your convenience, right? And then you could say like, sincerely, product XYZ. You could have the email, whatever you want there, right? So I'm going to actually just make this a little bit bigger so you can see the whole screen. Okay, yep, got it. And you are going to go down to the bottom of the screen. And I think I got to make this a little bit bigger. Yep, there we go. So you're going to go down to the bottom of the screen where it says more options. So you've got these 3 little dots. Click on the dots and you're going to see something that says templates. You are going to save this draft as a template. So we're going to just click on this, and then it's going to say save as new template. So you're going to click on this and look at that. It's actually using your subject line as the template name. So now let's test this out. So I'm just going to get rid of this for a second. I'm going to go over here and I have to send a note to somebody about this. So you go back to the little dots, you go to templates, and you go to your tracking information, and boom, all of that information exists. And all you have to do is add the person's name in and, get rid of some spacing because this looks kind of ugly. You could make this better once you do it. Yeah, thank you, Sarah, for reaching out. And then you could just send this, right? So we took a task that normally takes a lot of time and we made it so much faster, right? We just made this a heck of a lot faster because all of a sudden we are no longer having to type this every single time, right? So again, this is incredibly important to have, which is really great. So now I want to teach you one more trick of the trade here, and it's organization. This one's a little bit simpler. This one's probably something you already know, but I feel it's important to mention, especially if you end up having multiple people manage your email, which I very much recommend. You can do that if you use this system. So I'm going to go back to Gmail very quickly so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to click off this. We don't need this anymore, right? So let's say you have all of these emails. And what I would recommend is that you figure out what types of emails you normally get. So back to tracking, right? Let me go back over here. If you go to labels, you're going to click here and you're just going to say new label, enter a new label. So I am going to say tracking inquiries, create. And now all of a sudden I have a little folder for tracking inquiries. Another one is refund requests. And now I'm going to create a folder for refund requests. Now, why would you want to do this? Because at any given time, Sarah, I always like to use the name Sarah here, it's my favorite cousin. Sarah has a question about a refund and she wants to know more about it. Well, all of a sudden you can click on this and you can easily find the emails that you've sent to Sarah about refund requests. The same with tracking inquiries. You can easily find this. Now, if you happen to do work for clients, you can actually list the client name, client 1 here, and then everything that ever in the history of the world that you've done with that client, you can put right here. This is what I do. I have many folders, and I don't even know what the max is here because I have like 200 folders, but it helps me easily find where things are. And I will tell you in my personal email that my email box is only for things that I am working on currently, things that I need to get back to somebody. So I use it as my to-do list, and anything else is archived away. It keeps my email clean, and anyone can come in and see where the information is. So what would be the final step in all of these processes? Well, I am here to tell you that the final step is teach it. So I want you to teach somebody this. You can teach people this a couple different ways. You can actually send them a standardized SOP, which I teach you exactly how to do using what we just did. You can do it through paper. You can do it through video. I'm a fan of doing both, and you can do it at the same time. And I show you how inside the Leadership operating system, because your time should not be spent in processes. It should be spent on your business. And in order for it to be spent on your business, you need to be able to have repeatable processes that actually save you money and time. Because now that you have these things in place, even hiring someone will be cheaper than it was when they were having to manually write things out. If this is something you're interested in, I would love to have a call with you to discuss how to build processes inside your unique business. And if you would like to do that, in the chat, type the word SHIFT, S-H-I-F-T. I will personally reach out to you. We will talk about your processes, how we can streamline those, and if this is a good fit for you. I hope that you have a wonderful day and that you can take this specific training and save so much time, so much money, and increase the quality inside of your business.